top is pretty freaking spectacular. So hopefully we'll make it. I am on a tiny bit of a schedule today. But it feels nice. I'm glad I came out and I'm out here because it really is a beautiful day. There's really not a cloud in the sky. I haven't seen a single person out here. Oh, you guys see that? It's like a fox. I don't know if you guys can see a fox in the distance. That's cool. I don't know. The animal that ran away just a couple minutes ago sounded bigger than that. Probably either a deer or an elk or a bear. I guess possibly a moose. There was a moose living here for part of the winter, a lot of people said. And I did see some moose poop. Man, like some Moose Tracks ice cream. That stuff's so good. Has anybody else had that? I haven't thought about that in a long time. Moose Tracks. It's like little balls of fudge, maybe? So good. Oh man, so beautiful. I feel so lucky. Happy to take you guys along. A long time ago, I lived like right across the street from here, and I would do this mountain all the time. Still not too bad though. This is like where I'm living currently, which it sounds like I am getting kicked out of, sadly. Not because I did something wrong, but I don't know, more of a miscommunication because I was told I could just stay there. But anyway, where I live currently, it's about a 10-minute drive to the base of this mountain. It's one thing, like, I would recommend, and of course we could go much more into detail on all this stuff. I do really enjoy living and working in an area as beautiful as this, but, and a big but, is it's very expensive, and housing can be very challenging to get. Like, there's so much land here that can't be built on because it's like protected in one way or another. And then I don't know, it seems like, I don't know whether it's just straight like zoning regulations or, you know, wealthy people that live on like 100-acre ranches or 1,000-acre ranches, whatever it might be, don't ever seem to, you know, subdivide it, which I understand to some degree. But it's an interesting balance. Like, you know, you need workers to work in the beautiful resort area to keep it and all of its services up to par. It can't just be the ultra wealthy. But man, it sure is easier living here was if I were ultra wealthy, which I am sadly not. But the benefit is that if you can figure it out and you can take a little bit of, if you take advantage, like by going out and doing stuff, there's really like so much to do. And a lot of the activities are free, right? So this is free. A lot of times, depending where you work, you get a ski pass included or at a heavily discounted price. So, if you do enjoy that stuff, or think you might, it's kind of nice because place to live, you have your free time covered. Now, if you also like to restaurants, go out to bars, I'm certainly not against that. There's certainly a lot of that, but it can get expensive very quick. But going along with that, there's so many like-minded people in terms of that, lots of people like to go hiking or mountain biking or road biking or rock climbing or fishing or climbing or rafting, kayaking, and there's so many of those activities that it's really fun because a lot of people just want to do that too. Whereas I guess I found a lot of places like, I don't know, what do you even do? I personally have never really been into team sports and stuff. I suppose you can get into that most places. But, skiing and snowboarding is so fun in the winter. And all these summer activities are sweet. And then the only real downside, and I live in Colorado, the only real downside is the cost. And then in terms of activities, there is a bit of a lull, like in the time we're approaching, like September, October, early November. It can kind of go, like September can go either way. It can be really nice, but you can also start getting snow up high for sure. So got to keep that in mind. And then, but one thing that's cool is that you drive to the desert. Like you can go to kind of western Colorado, eastern Utah. There's all sorts of cool stuff there. And even though it's a bit of a drive, it's doable for the weekend. So you get kind of nicer temperatures when it's kind of in the middle here. I feel like fall, it's kind of more how much you're willing to tolerate, because it can be cold and there can be snow. A lot of times, not that bad. It's more like you just gotta have more grit. It's like, it's not like, oh, what a beautiful hike. It's a little bit more challenging than that, potentially. Just in the gear you bring and mindset that you have. But in the spring, it's harder because all the snow is melting. So you kind of have to there can be tons of snow. And if you know anything about snow, you can do what's called post-holing, which is like every step you take, you just fall through. See, there's lots of scat around here. This looks like elk. Tons of elk around here. I saw one on my dark drive over here, which is always scary. Never want to hit an elk. So far I like this. I hope I can figure out the connection issues and figure out how to look at my phone and read chat. But it's nice because I'm kind of forewarned that you think you could go and just try to maintain that half speed pace. Obviously to each their own. There's no wrong way to do any of this, but it can be really helpful. A lot of times people will, like I said, you just kind of get completely maxed out and then you're taking a break every 50 yards, 100 yards, which is fine. But what I've learned for myself and from like hiking with other people is kind of each time you hit that max, you kind of lower it a little tiny bit. So you're kind of depleting your stores more, even though it seems like, oh, well, I get to stop and rest. I don't know. I learned this on my first hike of the Appalachian Trail. And I remember hiking with quite an older gentleman. He was in his late 60s, really cool guy. You end up making friends with like people you wouldn't normally make friends with on long hikes. And sometimes it's weird, like some people you'll meet and you'll see them 100 times. Other people you'll meet and then you'll meet once and never see them again. And even people, some of them you think like, oh, they're the same pace, like you'll never see them again. And other people you think, oh, we're completely different paces and different strategies, and you see them like 100 times. Anyway, hiking with this dude, Bert, the skipper. Everybody gets these nicknames on the trail names. Mine was Deluxe. But anyway, and we can talk about that more for sure in future episodes or today. But anyway, Bert would be like, he would go what seemed like so slow up the mountain. So sometimes I would just like chat with him and be like, all right, you lead, Bert. And this is another lesson, like if you want to stay together and if you don't want to make people angry, let the slowest person lead and don't be pressuring them to go faster, or just agree to separate and agree to go your own paces. It's not really that scary. A lot of people get stressed out and annoyed if someone is like pressuring them, or I don't know, it's just hard to go someone else's pace. But anyway, Bert, I would follow him up the mountain and he would just go so freaking slow, like insanely. But you know what was nice? You got to the top of the mountain and it was like fine. You're like, all right. And then you just kind of keep going. And he really ingrained that in me because I never really considered that as obvious as it sounds, because it's so nice. Like you just kind of slowly meander your way and you'll get there. Usually, I mean, especially on a long hike, there's really not, I mean, sure, there's some people that are going for insane speed records and stuff, but for the most part, you're just trying to chill. And then everyone kind of falls into their own rhythm. And for the most part, most people are the same pace. Like you might think like the younger people out there would be way faster than Bert, like who I was just describing, but not really. I mean, a lot of times younger people, sure, they can do huge miles and they'll be so fit, but then they can also be very easily distracted. Like you go into town and they'll like it there and spend like 4 days there, whereas maybe the older person might be on a more regimented schedule and more consistent. But it's kind of funny how it works. But anyway, from learning that from Bert way back then, I've really tried to apply that to my hiking. And that is just go slow. Like for you. Everybody has different paces. As you get fitter, you just naturally go faster. It's just kind of how it works. But I find for me, just a slow, steady pace is the best. Like if you can get to the top and not be that tired, that's a win. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I haven't taken a break yet. I did take a break in the dark when I started getting everything going, but other than that, no real breaks. All right, let's look at the time. All right, We're making it to the top. Almost there. One final push. A lot of times too, as far as more like hiking uphill strategies, never anticipate that really is the top unless you've done it before. And no, there are a ton of mountains where you get something that looks like this and it keeps going. I mean, to be honest, this mountain has 2 summits, and even the second summit you can keep going on the ridge line. But we are just going to the first summit. That's where the most beautiful view is also. Oh my God. All right, so and then I guess I'll stream all the way down too. No real reason not to. Again, this is all really a test. I would love it if I could just have even just a few people who talk to me. I have, in all my hiking experience, a ton of stuff to share. And you know, my real dream would be to just encourage people to get after it a little bit and go hiking, go on some more adventures. It's just so much fun. I mean, my real dream too with this would be, I would love to do like a huge section of like, I feel like the Pacific Crest Trail, because it's so wide open, especially in the southern part. Like if I could, you know, just carry 40 pounds worth of batteries. It'd be really expensive though, because I would have to, like, even with a little bit of solar, like first of all, that adds more weight though. I really would have to stop in like every town. But I actually think that'd be cool, because I could show in the towns like what they're like too, and you'd end up going to all these really cool mountain towns that for the most part not many people go to. And it's really cool, you know, it's kind of small town, backwoods America, which is really cool. So, but I don't know, I'm nowhere near being able to afford to do that, but that would be my dream. Hopefully, it seems like every time I turn the Starlink on, it has like a software update to do. So maybe it'll keep getting better. I mean, I'm curious to watch this at the end and see like how often did I drop. Like I would think I'm online now. Anybody that's here right now, I would make sure to stay tuned. We are almost to the top. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe only 5 more minutes, unless that's me being overly optimistic. Let me see if we're still online. Oh yeah. At least I think we are. We have been for 10 minutes, I guess. We'll do a little really pretty. So same thing with my setup in terms of filming. It's like, I I could have a selfie stick or like a gimbal, but I don't really want to, I don't think. I mean, like I said, I actually really prefer poles. Like I said, my mission is a bit challenging because I really need to figure out a way to like hands-free. Although I don't know. Anyway, these are just the dilemmas. Oh, hang on, my flashlight's on. All right, we still got 80% battery. That's really good. Like already I'm thinking, man, I'd like to have poles. I love trekking poles. And remember too, I'm actually carrying like a large amount of equipment. My pack is quite heavy. So because of that, poles would be really nice. Man, this view from the top is absolutely spectacular, and we're getting there. This part is like, man, there's one trail in the wintertime that goes over to kind of left of Frame, and it sucks because you're all the way at the top. That part's awesome, but it's like just a very short, like 30, 50 foot section that's really steep. And it can be challenging. What the hell? My light went back on. All right, I think we're good. The final push. I almost need to get like those, what is it, the Apple Vision Pro, like those goggle things. That'd be funny. But as I said, I think my main strength is probably chatting and living in such a beautiful area. So hopefully eventually there'll be a bit of a following and people will chat with me. And I don't know, maybe there's somebody typing hundreds of messages now and I don't see them. I'll actually take my phone out again and check right now. Let's see, YouTube, I'm live with 0 viewers, and Kick. All right, so close. So close. Excuse me. Wait till you see this view though. Oh yeah.